Om. Ten Commandments, Principles of Arya Samaj, Part 8. The third principle, the Scripture of Truth, Section 1. Vedas are the scripture of true knowledge. It is the first duty of the Aryas to read them, teach them, recite them, and hear them being read.
ॐ नकिर्देवामिनीमसि नकिरायोपयामसि मन्त्रश्रुत्यं चरामसि.
We break no rule, O wise men. We keep none of the rules concealed. We act upon the teachings of the verses. Rigveda. How knowledge first came. The third principle combines in its outlook the teachings of the first two. We have been taught what God is, principle 2. We have been taught also in what philosophic, that is, cognitional and devotional relation we stand to Him, principle 1 and 2. The supremacy of man among all terrestrial beings takes its rise from his capacity of acquiring systematic and progressive knowledge. Now the ultimate source of that knowledge, without whom it would be impossible to form a philosophical conception of knowledge absolute, that is truth, which cannot be gainsaid, is, as the first principle affirms, the all-knowing God. In the third principle, which we shall now expound, the agency of transmission of knowledge from God to man is in due course pointed out, inasmuch as this principle lays its finger on the primeval repository of revealed knowledge, namely the four Vedas. Science eternal. Science, as knowledge systematized, has existed among men during all the eons of their earthly life. The amount of true, that is, scientific knowledge possessed by man in different ages, in different climes, has surely varied. But the fact that in all epochs of human history he knew science cannot be denied. The proposition of the evolutionary hypothesis that humanity has, from the day of its origin, been progressing in the discovery and application of the laws of science is believed by the testimony of excavations going on in different parts of the earth. Even nations that are today, because of their present barbarity, which consists mainly in their ignorance of modern arts and appliances of the specialized type, misnamed primitive, are by archaeologists declared on the irrefutable evidence of geological finds, which are bringing to light the ancient cultural wealth of their prehistoric forefathers, to have had a glorious past, in no way inferior in the lustre of its enlightened development to the present scientific glamour of any up-to-date civilized country of the world. Intellectual evolution, a myth. Mr. Jones Bowson, writing in the New Age for November 1921, traces briefly the recent cultural fall of man in some of the historically most conspicuous lands on the face of the globe. Writes he, if the history of mankind is upward evolution, why should the Chinese have known of gunpowder and the mariner's compass before the Christian era and have lost them again? Why should we see today only the pitiful traces of the splendors of the Mughal Empire in the palaces and tombs of India? Why should the Hindu race have gone backward for 400 years? Why should Angkor in the Cambodia and Barbados in Java be pointed today with amazement? Why should the very art of manufacture of the enameled tiles of the Empress Summer Palace in Peking and the method of working the color into the walls of the Almandra and Granada be lost arts which perished with the ancient Moors? Why should the Egyptians be ignorant of the arts of astronomy and mathematics which enabled them to erect the great pyramid of Cheops upon the principle of squaring the circle and at the point where it should absorb its shadow at noontime at the vernal equinox? By what methods, in the absence of hydraulic machinery, were the gigantic stones lifted into their palaces at Karnak and Palmyra? What caused the loss of the artistic knowledge which produced the sons of the marvelous gold and feather work of the Aztec and lost the very knowledge of the location of the wonderful ruined cities of Central America? Surely anyone who is a Masonic seeker after truth must recognize that the progress of mankind is really only in certain directions interlaced with retrogressions and decadence in others. Continued.